Speed Channel presents the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Today it's bug pole qualifying from Phoenix International Raceway. NASCAR's once-a-year trip to the Valley of the Sun, where this year many things are different, especially in the configuration and surface of the racetrack. Talk about that in a moment, but right now let's go down to the firing line. Marty Snyder.
Well, Mike, this morning in practice, 20-year-old Brian Vickers was the fastest man on the chart. And Brian, you go out awfully early, third. Will that be a disadvantage?
I think it will be a little bit, but hopefully not too much. This UAW Delphi car's run really well. The team's done a good job in practice. Now we just got to back it up.
You know what? He has 56 career Busch Series start and has never won a pole in that series. Today, third Winston Cup start could get that out of the way early. Dave Burns.
Marty, going out right before him is the guy who used to drive that car. That's Joe Nemechek. He now drives the 01 Army car. And Joe, you were second quick in practice. How are you going to get the pole?
Got to have a good lap. Got to thank Ryan Newman, this whole U.S. Army Pontiac team. Car's been running great since we've been here. You unloaded quick right off the bat, and old car's strong. You got to hit your marks. If you miss your marks just a little bit, you're going to lose 2 or 3 tenths. In the field, I can't believe how close everybody is here. It's incredible. So I'm just trying to hit my marks, do what I did before. Hopefully we got a little extra grip in these Goodyear tires, going on some pretty new tires, so hopefully we'll get it.
All right, he mentioned Ryan Newman. He was third quickest in practice. They'll both have to beat that guy, the guy with 9 poles already, Mike.
Thank you, Dave, and hi, everybody. Welcome to Phoenix. They were out of Three Stooges mask, so we're whatever. All right. Things are new here and different at Phoenix, and not just with us. The racetrack has changed, and the players in Winston Cup racing have changed. Larry McReynolds and Jeff Hammond join me. Larry?
Put the mask back on.
Some new driver and new crew chief pairings have resulted in surprising rundown of this first practice session.
Yeah, as we documented last week at Atlanta, a lot of changes made to try to get a jump start on 2004. You heard our guys in the pits, Dave Burns, Marty Schneider, document Joe Nemechek and Brian Vickers swapping rides. They are the fastest 2 race cars here. Dave Blaney operating with actually out of crew chief. He's fast. In fact, the top 11, 5 guys with changes, they are fast. Ward Burton in his new ride for 2004, he's fast. Scott Wimmer replacing Ward Burton, he was right up there too. So these changes are really taking place here at Phoenix and making a difference. And for a track that's very unpredictable, the last 9 races, 9 different pole winners, might have that 10th one today.
Well, one reason things have changed may be the reconfigured racetrack. Jeff Hammond, the drivers now, they're not looking for necessarily driving the fast way around the shape of the racetrack. They're going for the good parts.
They definitely are right now, Mike. And with the changes, what we're talking about is off of turn 2, they actually moved the outside wall back about 20 feet. And that little strip right in there is fresh pavement. What the drivers are trying to do right now is drive up there where the wall used to be in a situation where now they can get some grip and run down that back straightaway. Well, guess what? When they get over turn 3 and roll through turn 4, coming off of turn 4, they've taken down the walkover bridge. And again, if you take a look and you see that dark patched area, that's all fresh pavement. A lot of the guys right now are loving that part as far as coming off the racetrack. The car's a little bit loose. It still gets good grip. It's a little bit tight. Front wheels dig in, and it makes a good cut right there. So the guys are really liking the racetrack so far. But for a lot of the veterans, they're struggling. But probably for some of these new teams, they've probably got a pretty open mind about it, and the racetrack's kind of coming to them.
All right, so this could be an interesting and maybe a little different qualifying session on Halloween from what we've seen. You can get most of our outfits at speedswag.com. No, it's speedtv.com.
That's it.
Speed Swag.
We'll be right back to qualifying. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series lives on speed, and their exciting race, Duel in the Desert, Dogfight in the Desert, Larry called it, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Speed Channel. The trucks are lined up and ready to go. And so is our Speed Channel truck team. And in the outside lane of pit road, the NASCAR Winston Cup Series getting set for their one and only qualifying session here at Phoenix for Sunday's event. Tony Raines will be the first car to roll. Mark Martin's car has been excused from the qualifying line. He was scheduled to go 4th in the order. So that news just in. And here we go.
Yep, here we go. And Larry, I don't know about you, but I always hated to draw that number 1. I know whenever I went back with the truck, more times than not, I was responsible for drawing that number. And if I did, I always hated to go back and tell my driver, so guess what, buddy, we got to get it done first.
Well, what has happened, this racetrack has just sit here for about an hour. And what happens when a racetrack sits like that, some of the oils and stuff tend to bleed up through it and makes the track very slick until a few cars go around it and get it run back in.
Tony Raines has done a tremendous job for Bill Bumgarner's largely unsponsored Chevrolet through this season. They've had single race sponsors from time to time. Raines is on the radar of quite a number of car owners, in not just Winston Cup, but the Busch and the Truck Series. For 2004, be interesting to see where the former ASA champion lands for next season.
But I tell you, Tony's very loyal to Bill Bumgarner. He says, you know, I keep hoping and thinking that we will get a sponsor, because this race team, with a blank race card, nothing on the quarter panels, they have made every race this year except one. So they've done things that some of the major teams have not even accomplished. And he just says that he knows with the proper funding how much better they could be.
First lap, 27.78.
He's not going to be very happy with that right there, Mike. That's about 4/10 slower than he practiced at, so let's see what he can do here on the second lap.
But now we expect many drivers, as Raines just did, to be better on their second lap than their first. Why?
Well, I think it's heat in the tires more than anything. And we saw a lot of teams also do a process of what we call scuffing their qualifying tires. In other words, they went out there and made about a half a lap on a new set of tires just to kind of get the newness off, because they said even though the sticker tires, new tires, were quick, they just felt a little wormy or a little slick when you'd first go out there.
Dave Burns.
Kenny Wallace with a couple of top 10 starts here, including outside row 3 last year. What about driving this new line? Is it really that much different off of 2?
It gives you more room for error. You know, if you drive a push up off of turn 2, you can slide out. This, when you think you're going to hit the wall, there's that new pavement, and the car grips a lot. Same thing where the new turn is off of 4. So I like it better. It's fun.
All right, he'll go out in just a couple cars here, guys.
Kenny Wallace, who we believe may be racing in the Busch Series next year, staying with Bill Davis Racing, but may perhaps end up in the Busch rather than the Cup Series. Again, sponsorship is always a factor. So here's Joe Nemechek, second in practice. Let's see what he can do with the Army Pontiac.
Excuse me, Larry, I was going to say, this may be a really good test to see what kind of condition that racetrack's in. We were talking about a minute ago. It's laid there for a little while. We saw that Tony Raines was off about 4/10 early morning practice. Let's see what happens here with Joe Nemechek.
Yeah, his time in practice was a 26.94. Pretty surprising how many teams took advantage to come out here and test a couple of weeks ago. Joe Nemechek in the 01 car, that was one of the groups that came here actually last week and tested. It's going to be a pretty good lap for him. First lap 27.14, so let's see if he can pick it up, because that's about 2/10 off of what he ran in practice.
And yet it's only 3/10 off the track record set by Rusty Wallace in 2000.
You saw the green bubble right there. Looks like this, at least up through turn 3, is going to be a little quicker lap.
Well, you see the car just violently roll over to the right side when it hits that new pavement and gets that good grip.
It really is, and his second lap is almost as fast as his first. First one was quicker. But, Mike, we're going to keep talking about this as we go through the rest of the day. As this racetrack is laid here since early this morning, it's gotten a little bit warmer. The oils have come up through the track, and it's changed a lot since these guys saw it about an hour and a half ago.
Dave Burns.
Speaking of oil, I think we need a spotter on pit road here. Tell them to go low below that little puddle right there. That was from Joe Nemechek's car. No problem there. Just a little overflow situation, but they're pushing the cars to the side of that rather than run through it and slick up their tires before they hit the track.
Or soften their tires if that's gasoline.
Yeah. Gas would be good. The oil would be not good.
Right. A little bit of overflow spill, maybe. And out comes the fastest car in practice.
There you see him scuffing those tires back and forth, just trying to get some heat into them. That's the whole secret to running quick here. This is another group that came out here last week and tested. Had a great qualifying run at Atlanta last week, qualified 4th, but finished dead last with some engine troubles.
And I'll tell you right now, when you talk to guys like Jeff Gordon and Robbie Loomis, and they tell you this young man jumped in Jeff Gordon's car after having an outstanding practice run in his car and went faster in Jeff's car than he did, I mean, that's pretty impressive, Larry.
His confidence just keeps growing with leaps and bounds every week.
I've seen a lot of great talents, but this young man just keeps blowing my mind what he's able to do.
And that was spectacular right there. The car took off on him in turn 2 and was headed for the wall, and then as soon as it hit that new patch of pavement, it stuck. Wow.
Got loosed on him really bad right there, right in the middle of the corner.
Is that Bugs Bunny on the hood? It is.
Yeah, what's that about?
27 flat. Good lap for Brian Vickers.
Quickest so far. Whoa, little slide there. Looking for the good part of the pavement, but he got a little sideways a little too soon, it looked like.
You drive a car off so hard in the corner right here on the brake hard. That's the reason you see the nose of the car drop down, and then you just try to pick that throttle up as quick as you can. I mean, his car is almost in a four-wheel slide off of turn 4. Picks it up, 26.93. Good lap for Brian.
And that is 1/10 of a second off the track record. Good lap. Well, that's a much better costume than we could come up with. Somebody, get me wardrobe. Tonight, trackside live at Phoenix, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Come join us out here at the Oasis outside turn number 2. Car owner Richard Childress, Winston Cup point leader Matt Kenseth. You never know who's going to drop by trackside. We promise all new costumes and a cast of characters, that's for sure.
Yeah, may actually have the truck winner from today's race after things all said and done on trackside tonight.
Let's hope so. Marty.
Costumes included, huh, Mike?
Sure.
That sounds like a lot of fun to me. Joe Nemechek probably will not be there, costume or not, but you had one reaction to the qualifying lap, and it was what?
Slippery. It just seemed, going out early is never good. Brian Vickers just pulled off a great lap, but just seemed like I didn't have the traction. Seemed like the whole car just wanted to slide, and I think the sun just sitting there baking on the track. It's got all that black rubber down on it, and black tracks that heat. So it's still a good run for the U.S. Army Pontiac. These guys have been working their butts off, and one of these days I'll get it right.
Second fastest in practice and second fastest so far for Joe Nemechek.
Jeff Green in the Cheerios Dodge, number 43 of Petty Enterprises, and he's helped turn this team around. They've qualified in the top 10 in 2 of the last 3 races, Kansas and Atlanta.
Well, you can see him really fighting that wheel going off into turn 1. His first lap, 27.70. Jeff, the owner of this race car, Richard Petty, has a little something in common with you now. He went and made a flight with the Blue Angels this week.
He did?
Yes, he did.
Well, that's not something I got in common with him, because I didn't fly with the Blue Angels. I flew with the Thunderbirds.
The Thunderbirds.
That's right.
Okay.
We're rivals.
Oh, okay.
Second lap for Jeff Green is faster. Same spot on the board, 27.59, third fastest. Marty.
Well, Mike, a very tired Brian Vickers came on the radio, or an exasperated Brian Vickers said, "That's all it had, boys. That's hanging it out there, isn't it?"
Yeah, it really was. The guys, the UAW Delphi team did a great job. I want to thank Ricky and Rick and Papa Joe for giving us opportunity. But, that's about all she had right there. We made a couple adjustments after qualifying to hope we help it. And, they helped it some, but not quite enough. But hopefully that'll be enough to stay on top.
If you have Bugs run behind the car, I think that might help out a little bit. Maybe him or Roadrunner.
Oh, absolutely. Bugs is the man. He is he is the top of the list. And I still watch cartoons. So, I would know, but I'm glad to have him on board this week and happy about the whole Chevrolet package.
At least he's got a costume ready for Halloween to slap that head on. Dave?
I think Bobby Labonte will go for a fresh interstate battery probably. Hey, what's this your crew chief talking to you about whining? You never whine, right?
I try not to anyway. No, we're just having a good time there.
Friendly conversation.
Yeah, we're really want to get a good qualifying run here on Interstate Battery Chevrolet. We didn't run quite as good in practice. I like to. Of course, I think that's probably my tune here. If I come here and practice, I'm usually about the same place. But hopefully we made enough changes on it. We made the right ones. We can pick it up, and we'll see what happens.
Bonnie, of course, a former pole sitter here in 96, guys.
Kenny Wallace in the Bill Davis Racing Stacker 2 Dodge. Coming around to complete his first lap.
He was 19th quickest in practice. First lap makes him third quickest at a 27.30.
Just a little bit slower than what he ran in practice, but pretty close. And right now, Larry, if I had to make a guess, I'd say the racetrack itself is about a tenth slower than what it was earlier in practice.
What it appears. The time of day we're qualifying here, I don't know as far as weather that it's going to be an issue, an advantage or disadvantage. I just think those first guys were maybe at a little disadvantage because of the racetrack sitting there. He picks it up a little bit on his second lap, but don't pick up a position.
Still third at 5 for Kenny Wallace.
Pretty much the comment is the same, and there's our Winston Cup points leader, Matt Kenseth.
And the defending champion of the Checker 500.
Wonder how he'll qualify today, Larry. He wasn't looking. He was 31st in practice early on. But, you know, for Matt, if he gets anything in the top 20, I think they feel like they've accomplished something.
Yeah, he won this race a year ago from starting pretty deep in the field. But I think we're hearing everybody say the same thing. The racetrack just don't have as much grip. Why? Because, like you said earlier, racetrack is much warmer.
1 year ago here in Phoenix. Boy, Matt was on such a tear at the tail end of last season.
And there, his crew was very happy. They pulled a little bit of strategy with some 2 tires there late in the race, and that definitely made a difference. If he can win this race on Sunday, he will take home a bonus from the Winston Cup leader bonus for the Winston Cup points leader that wins the race of $340,000.
That's right. Nobody's hit it this year.
Nobody has won it as a Winston Cup points leader since Sterling Marlin did it at the beginning of last year at Darlington.
Wow.
60-something races.
He does on purpose. A nice little walking around change right there. And on the track right now, another guy would like to get into victory lane this year and kind of turn things around is Kyle Petty in the 45 car.
The Southern New York Racing Association, which is the drivers and car owners at the late lamented Danbury, Connecticut Race Arena. The track hasn't even been there in 10 years. They've still got a racing organization. They did a fundraiser for Kyle and Patty Petty's Victory Junction Game Camp, and I think they put together for a non-racing organization to come up with $45,000.
Oh, outstanding.
Attaboy. Great job.
That camp's supposed to open, I think, the middle of next summer.
Won't that be great? Kyle was 38th in practice.
Yeah, he's 6th out of 6 cars right now to 27.88.
We should tell you there are 45 cars here, which means 2 will head home. Kenny Schrader is the only driver who does not have the opportunity to take a provisional start.
You see, he was off the gas a long, long time in the middle of turn 3 and 4 there.
Second lap quicker, and Kyle moves up to 4th on the board. Picks up almost 4/10 on his second lap. You want to know what's going on in the world of racing Sunday? Speed News kicks off with NASCAR edition at 7 Eastern. Speed News World Class Sunday at 7:30, and then NASCAR Victory Lane at 8 p.m. Eastern Time to fill your need for speed. Todd Bodine in the National Guard Ford comes out. He was 17th in practice, and we talked with his brother Brett last night, who believes that his deal is coming together and he may have funding in place to make it to Homestead, and if not, for a full 2004 campaign. That would certainly be good news for the number 11.
Still very, very optimistic about his future. This 54 car, Todd Bodine, he's still somewhat in sponsor search for next year.
First lap, 4th quickest, 27:35. Spots in behind Kenny Wallace.
This car they last raced at Kansas last month, finished 11th. Todd has 8 starts here. His best finish and his best qualifying effort has been 11th. And this is a 1-mile racetrack, but you are turning almost about 75% of the time. And the real challenge is to get your car to turn through the middle of the corner. He picks it up to 3rd quickest on his second lap, but then get that forward bite off the corner, not spin the rear wheels when you accelerate.
Dave?
And Ward Burton and I starting a little discussion group here. Ward, our first topic, of course, is drivers saving anything from qualifying practice. Tenths, hundredths, myth or reality?
I think there's a couple of drivers that don't like kind of putting it all out on the line during practice. One of them in particular, like Bobby Labonte. Not that he doesn't like it, but he's good at figuring out what his car needs when he doesn't put it all out there, and then he qualifies most time pretty well. Someone like me, and I think most of us, we go with everything we've got that lap and the next lap so that we can come back and give the right information, so when we do go qualify, hopefully we got the setup properly.
There you go. We got some of each down here, Mike.
I'd say. Jamie McMurray in the Haviland Dodge. A little loosey-goosey there.
A lot of the drivers are telling me that the key to getting through 1 and 2 right now was just how loose could you stand your car to be to make it turn, to be able to get up that new pavement once again and get off, Mike. I mean, that's where a lot of these guys felt like they picked up a lot of time, by being able to get up and make their car work close to what used to be the old wall down the back straightaway.
5th quickest on his first lap. He's been the top finishing rookie for the last 10 straight races.
These guys have really come on here lately, and Jamie has raced in every series here, the Craftsman Truck Series, the Busch Series, and Winston Cup. You hear him against that rev limiter at the end of the backstretch. These guys were not bashful about turning 9,100, 9,200, even more during practice today, RPMs.
Second lap's a little better. Still 4th quickest at a 27.24. Marty?
Kenny Wallace had the advantage of his teammate testing here for him, but that didn't prepare you for a slick racetrack, did it, Kenny?
No, it didn't. You know, Scott Wimmer came out here and he ran a couple days of practice and a couple days in his Busch car, which really helped us. But the lap wasn't too bad. Just felt a little bit slippier in the Stacker 2 car, but hopefully it ended up somewhere around 20th, and we'll go with that.
All right, before we get runner Dave run over here, well, Dave, why don't you go?
We'll take the championship leader, Matt Kenseth. Talking about Halloween down here, he said he'd be a race car driver. Well, how about a qualifying lap? What do you look for from your yellow number 17?
I didn't say I was a race car driver. I said I'm dressed up as a race car driver. So
acting like one.
Yeah, I mean, the way we were running this morning, that's why I had to dress up as one because I didn't feel like one. But I don't know. I mean, obviously qualifying is never our strong suit, but we had it pretty decent on old tires. We got up to like 15th on the sheet or something, which wasn't too bad. And we put tires on it, and the Staker was a little different, and it kind of messed us up. On our lockup run, we went pretty slow, so we made 3 or 4 changes off that, and hopefully we did the right thing, and we'll get a decent lap.
And they taped it up good. I don't think his car is going to be able to breathe much, Mike.
Thanks, Dave. Brandon Ash, Winston West runner from Umpqua, Oregon. 1 win in 64 Winston West starts. He won at Kansas a year ago, June. Didn't make the field, Winston Cup field at Las Vegas or Infineon Raceway.
And he was the slowest of the 45 cars here in practice. Right now he's 9th out of 9 cars, and he's pretty much on the go or go home list. Has to be in the top 36 to be pretty much race on Sunday.
Reason being, that car is last among the 45 that are here in car owner points.
Just watching Brandon through the corner of the cars, just like a lot of the guys so far, it's loose. You see him inside there really working the wheel, and he doesn't look like he's able to get off the corners under throttle, full throttle that is, to be able to make up any kind of time.
So the Triton Realty Partners Ford does pick up a 1/4 of a second on the second lap, but he's still 9th of 9. So Brandon Ash 9th. Trick or treat? You call it.
It was terrible. Oh, I know. That's what he just said. He said.
One of the most fun shows on speed, Dave Despain, when they fire up the wind tunnel. Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, with your questions and emails about anything in racing. Dave will tackle it, or he'll find somebody who can.
And next week, Mike, I think he's got Robert Yates coming on one night and Dale Earnhardt Jr. another night, so he's going to have some good help.
Hang on when they fire up the wind tunnel. Terry Labonte, 2-time Winston Cup champ, has 1 pole this season at the spring Richmond race.
He has a win here back in 1994. We've been coming to Phoenix now for 15 years. We race here once a year. On his first lap, he's 6th quickest. Terry is the only driver to be running at the end of all 15 Phoenix races. No DNFs this year as well, and right now he's doing everything he can, this team, to try to stay in the top 10 in points. They're only 26 points ahead of 11th place Kurt Busch right now.
Kind of neat, though, to see Terry Labonte and Bill Elliott at this late point in the season.
Very
up
fitting.
into the top 10.
He jumps up 2 guys, the 3rd fastest.
And we say very fitting, not just because they are coming toward the latter years of their career, but because this is the final year of Winston's involvement, and both were Winston Cup champions. It would be great to see both up there on the stage in New York. There are a lot of young fellows that will have a lot of years to get there if they don't make it this December. Dave?
And Jeff Burton getting ready to qualify here in just a little bit. You know, I want to ask you, since you have won here and done fairly well, what do you think of the new configuration?
I think it's pretty cool. You know, the new asphalt makes a huge difference, because when you're kind of slipping and sliding, you get that new asphalt and it just makes grip. And so off of turn 4, it's like, how fast can I get to the new asphalt? So you try to go as fast as you can and slide all you can as fast as you can, and as soon as you get there, it makes a really good grip. And then up by the wall off turn 2, it's the same way. And you know, it's certainly a wider groove off of 2, and then there's more grip off of 2, way up high too, because it's new asphalt there too. So I think it's going to have a pretty major impact.
And I think, Mike, from that positive report there, he might think he can win again.
Wouldn't surprise anybody. That's for sure.
Well, he's one of only 2 drivers to win more than once here at Phoenix. You know who the other driver was that won 2 races here back in the early 90s?
Jeff knows.
I know. I believe you worked with him, Larry Mack.
Yes, I did.
Davey Allison.
Davey Allison, back-to-back in 91 and 92. Jeff Burton, back-to-back, I think, in 2000, 2001. The only 2-time winners here at Phoenix.
Bobby Labonte on his run, 27.33 the first lap. That is 7th fastest.
They kind of stopped the bleeding in Atlanta last week. Had a good race car. That was his first top 5 finish since Daytona in July.
Ends up 6th quickest.
Since Daytona.
In July.
That's unbelievable.
Yes,
right
it
there.
is.
As strong as that car was early on this year, I did not really comprehend that.
Yeah, I mean, late spring, early summer, they couldn't do anything but finish in the top 5.
Yep.
1988 was the first Winston Cup race at this track. As work continues on Mark Martin's car, he was excused from his point in the qualifying line and will come up a little later in the order. Alan Kulwicki got his first Winston Cup win here in 1988, and on that day invented what he originally said was he wanted to do something special if he could win a Winston Cup race, something that would be remembered. And Alan created what he called the Polish victory lap by driving wrong way around the track with the left side window to the fans so he could wave and salute them. And gosh, that's pretty cool.
It wasn't fancy. He didn't smoke no tires, but he got the point across.
Let's go downstairs.
Terry Labonte, 3rd fastest. Heard the horror stories about how slick the track was, but how was it for you, Terry?
Well, our car was it's pretty good. We weren't too bad in practice, I didn't think, and but it was just a little bit too loose. I lost a little bit of time, I think, in turn 3, but other than that, it was a pretty good run. It's an awful good car, and I'm looking forward to Sunday.
Look at that podium, Mike. 1, 2, 3, Hendrick so far.
So far, so good for Rick Hendrick and his Chevys. The Morgan McClure Kodak Pontiac with Kevin LePage of Shelburne, Vermont, out there on the track. Interesting observer there. And it brings up the point that Pontiac announced Tuesday that they are leaving Winston Cup racing at the end of this season. General Motors, who's often been accused of competing more within its own self, division against division, than against other car companies, is going to concentrate all of its NASCAR efforts behind Chevrolet beginning in 2004. A big surprise announcement.
Yeah, I mean, I think it caught all 5 of the Pontiac teams in Winston Cup off guard, and the question was asked, how's it going to affect their performance? I talked to one Pontiac owner, and he said, you know, performance-wise, the cars are so equal, we don't see that that's going to really affect us. He said the big problem is we, in all manufacturers, everybody has different level of contracts. If you've got a good, solid contract with Pontiac, you're probably going to be okay. If you didn't, you might be in a little bit of trouble as far as technical support next year.
Hope some of those teams haven't ordered their souvenirs for next year yet. That's another item. Here's the Rocket, waiting to light the fuse on Ryan Newman, who was in the top 5 in practice and is always a threat for the pole.
There's the other for 6 weeks as far as race day right there.
Kevin LePage ended up 10th of 12 so far. Well, let's get the word from one of those Pontiac drivers. Let's go downstairs.
And that is Ricky Craven. Ricky, the announcement this week we were just talking about caught a lot of people off guard. Did it catch you off guard?
Absolutely. But, you know, I think it's the same for everybody that Pontiac's had such a big impact in the sport, and the surprise was that they wouldn't be involved in Winston Cup racing. And you think of the history, the success, and you immediately think of all the people in Michigan that were affected by it and the people that help build the race car and have so much passion for what they do. So it affects a lot more than just the race teams, and I feel for everybody that has an affiliation with Pontiac. But at the same time, you know, it's not the end of the world. We're still a part of the GM family, and we're excited about focusing on the Monte Carlo next year, and we'll have a few more teammates to work with.
And that Monte Carlo family's done pretty well, Mike.
Dale Jarrett on track, who's going to be honored in the Winston Victory Lap here at Phoenix. And boy, he's got a handful of race car there.
Yeah, I mean, he had a handful throughout practice, 37th quickest. Just real quick, back to Ricky Craven. Procter & Gamble and Tide's one of the companies that really does their promotion, PR, and marketing stuff early. Mike, you mentioned it. All of their die cast was made for next year as a Pontiac. All the Ricky Craven stand-ups were made with Pontiac on his uniform. So a lot of money will have to be thrown to the wayside on those items.
Or they'll have a get them while they're last sale.
Fire sale, right?
No, just get them while they're last.
Okay.
Dale Jarrett, 11th of 13 with a lap of 27.67. He picked up a 10th and a half on his second lap.
You know,
he's
Dale,
not going to be happy.
No, he won't. Just extended his contract with Robert Yates through 2006, so we know he'll be in this race car 3 more years. My speculation would be this is where Dale Jarrett will end his career with Robert Yates in this 88 group.
And Dave is with the Rocket.
That is Ryan Newman, just about ready to jump in his car. Ryan, track today in practice, you were not the quickest, but I expect you plan on being the quickest on your qualifying lap?
We'd like to. The Alto Dodge is running pretty good. Unloaded up the truck, had to work on it some, and man, the guys have done a good job. We'll just see what the track has to offer as far as grip and if it's changed at all balance-wise.
Did the configuration throw you any curves in terms of getting the setup you liked?
No, I think they've done a nice job. To have a track that doesn't have any breaks in the walls, as far as places to have problems like that, they had to tunnel in and have the lack of bumps like they have. They've done a great job. I just look forward to the safer barriers.
Mike?
Thanks, Dave. This is Mike Wallace, the James Finch Mikosuki Indian Gaming, number 09. And what Ryan was referring to as Mike Wallace posts a lap that's 8th quickest. Nice lap for Wallace. Right there at turn 2 is where there was an entrance onto the track for safety equipment and to integrate what used to be the outfield road course. And now that outside retaining wall is continuous all the way around. One of the big changes here.
I'd say Mike and that group would be pretty happy with that qualifying run. They struggled a little bit in practice, missed the show last week at Atlanta, so I'm sure they'll be pretty happy with that decent qualifying run.
Picks it up again.
Picks it up to 6th. So Mike Wallace is in the show for Sunday. Brian Vickers, Joe Nemechek, quickest thus far. Welcome back to Phoenix, where Vickers, Nemechek, Terry Labonte, Bodine, and McMurray are the fast 5 so far. Here is John Andretti for Dale Earnhardt Inc. in the Pennzoil Chevy. Practice 25th fastest.
John is expected to make his 325th career Winston Cup start this Sunday.
His most recent pole came here driving for the Petties in a Pontiac in 1999.
John used up all that racetrack off turn 4. 10th quickest.
10th of 15 right now. 45 cars here. So you have to beat 9 to be sure of making the top 36. That means only 2 cars will head home.
John was in pretty good shape till that late exit of turn 2. He lost a lot of ground coming off turn 2, like he had to get back out of the throttle, which killed that whole backstretch speed.
So he may pick up a spot on this second lap. And does. He's past Kyle Petty into 9th with a lap of 27:40. Here's Dave.
With the 1998 winner at this racetrack, 3 poles here. I'm not sure I'm going to see that today. What do you think?
I don't know. You might see it today. We're running pretty good in practice. We're running 23 in practice. So if I pick it up a couple of tenths, I could be real close.
I was talking with a driver earlier about some guys who hold some back and some who lay it on the line in practice. Where are you?
I always seem like I can dig down and find a little bit more. You know, I always been able to. I hope I can this time. The weather is better than it was in practice. We made a couple changes in the car, which I think is going to make it better. So let's see.
There you go. Keep your eye on the 2, Mike.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, and Rusty's the track record holder here. Set it back in 2000 at 26.83. Based on the practice speeds, we thought that track record may be in jeopardy, and it still may be.
Here's Sterling Marlin, who was on the injured list last year and did not run in this race. He was the pole winner here in 1994, driving for the Morgan McClure team.
This group came out here and tested. Pretty unique thing that happened to them in Atlanta last week. They figured out finally the reason Sterling couldn't hear him is he had problems with his helmet itself. They gave him another helmet under caution. He changed the helmet out, came in 2 laps later under caution, gave him the old helmet back. Did it without losing a lap.
That's a new one.
That is a new one right there. A lot of times it's very difficult to change a driver's helmet out with a new headrest that are inside these cars. It's very restrictive, so that's pretty much a challenge to have to overcome. That's pretty impressive.
And just remember the head neck restraint device is hooked to it, and that's a good run for Sterling Marlin, 3rd quickest.
Testing must have paid off for these guys.
Sterling, that would equal his, no, I think it would eclipse his best qualifying of the season. So let's go downstairs.
And we're walking along here with Michael Waltrip. You know, we were talking team here, Michael, and how maybe your team could bust up the top there, but Sterling just did it for you.
Yeah, we have a really good car today. The Napa Auto Parts Chevy is running well, and I think that we can get up there toward the front, and I'm looking forward to it. It's the same car we raced at Loudon, and we really were fast up there, so I'm pretty optimistic and looking forward to our chance here on Halloween.
And you and your teammate Dale Jr. were talking a little bit earlier. Anything you learned from each other, or just talking about Halloween?
He said, go out there and give it your all. And I said, I will, and you do the same. And then he gave me this ring.
That's very good. I like that. And Macy gets that later. Is that what that is?
Yeah, I wear stuff like that to think of my beautiful little girls at home. And we can't be out here on this trip, so missing them a little bit. But just enjoying this beautiful weather out in Phoenix. And whoa, we got a car in the wall. Go up top.
Yes, he did. Ward Burton scraped the back end of the net zero Pontiac. Just the right rear corner against the fence.
But now that was his second lap. He was 5th quickest on the first lap. So I would say no more damage into that. They'll be more than happy to try to just beat that out and repair it a little bit.
But he was going for it, guys. What he was looking for was trying to pick up this a little bit on that next lap. Again, try to run up there close to it.
Car's okay.
Here's a look.
This is that area coming off turn 2. So much speed right there, just got real loose with him well before that new part of the pavement, Jeff.
Well before that right there. We've seen a lot of guys loose in that area, but he was trying to hang on to her and get it up to that new pavement where you get that bite coming off that down the back straightaway.
Oh, you heard Ward say in the interview, I don't hold anything back.
No.
There's a look. And nice throw, Michael. We'll see you tonight on trackside.
I like working with a trained professional.
Big hit for this race team this past week after Atlanta. In pre-practice inspection last week at Atlanta, opening day practice, the NASCAR found an unapproved carburetor modification actually to the Ventura area. They fined crew chief Tony Furr $25,000 and took 25 driver and owner points away from this race team.
Ouch. So Ward Burton, despite the brush with the wall on lap 2, is 5th quickest behind Vickers, Nemechek, Marlin, and Terry Labonte.
I hate that sound.
There's the damage. Here's Marty to assess it with Ward Burton.
Well, Mike, as Ward Burton piled down into turn 1, he said the car is loose. And then what happened, Ward?
Driver trying a little bit too hard. Hell of a practice today. I tell you what, the Net Zero team just did a fantastic job. Car should have run a flat or a 90 there. I was a little bit too loose, but should have backed off a little bit. But I'm really proud of the team. Probably one of the best practices I ever had in Winston Cup.
And the early assessment is you will not need a backup car, correct?
Oh, heck no. We just got a little cosmetic damage. I'm just sorry for the guys. We got to do a little facial work back here. We'll kick the butt on Sunday. Car is ready to go.
All right, they will fix that damage, and they will race this car on Sunday.
Yep, give it a facial, and let's go. Happy Halloween.
Yeah, Larry, I think he would basically say he's ready to go now. Short track racing, you always got to kind of ding the fenders up a little bit before you get racing.
Oh, she's just ready to race now.
That's it.
Well, if he had run a flat, he would be second fastest right now to Brian Vickers. Here is the point leader, Matt Kenseth, who ended up 11th at Atlanta. He has 23 top 10s this year, more than any other driver, but only one top 10 in the last 5 races. That came at Charlotte. Trying to pad his point lead.
On Wednesday, Matt was part of the taping of the Pyramid Show. It's NASCAR Pyramid Week, the game show with host Donnie Osmond. He was on there with Tony Stewart, Jamie McMurray, Jeremy Mayfield, and Christian Fittipaldi. They were paired with a NASCAR fan, trying to help them win $25,000 and get to that $100,000 mark. They said these guys had a lot of fun doing that.
Not sure when that airs, but we'll try.
It airs the week of Homestead, as my understanding. Yeah.
Okay. Look for that.
He's 13th quickest on his first lap at a 27.55.
Back end was kind of hung out right in the middle of 3 and 4, so I don't look for him to pick it up very much on the second lap.
He mirrored it. 2 identical laps.
So Matt Kenseth is 13th of 18. That should keep him out of provisional land.
And the number keeps growing. Now all he has to do in these final 3 races, regardless of what he does, is finish 21st or better, Dave Burns.
How about me, Larry? Will I work for you?
Oh, Marty will work just fine.
All right, buddy. 34th to 3rd. Nice pickup there, Sterling. Where did that come from?
Well, we came and tested, and it was pretty good off the truck. It was 5th off the truck, and we kept getting slower and slower and slower, and we got to looking. Before we were over on the line, we'd made some changes to try to help it, and left front spring had done collapsed, and so we put a fresh left front spring in it and run a good lap. So that's all it was.
That's all they said. You know, fix that left front spring, and we were off to the races.
And Marlin looking for his first top 5 finish of the season.
Yeah, hard to believe.
It really is, and when he talks about the left front spring, I think folks at home need to understand that
as much as these race cars weigh, a lot of these guys run springs that are so soft that by the time it carries the weight of the car, time to time it will totally just collapse that spring. I mean, they will probably have like a 450-pound left front spring in this race car. Maybe even softer than that if they can get by with it. And it has a big part as far as making the car handle.
Here's Jeff Burton in the Citgo Ford looking for his first victory since winning here in 2001.
2 years ago without a win. Hard to believe.
12th on his first lap at a 27:41. Got to pick it up a little. One spot, 27:26, moves Burton to 11th. And now looking much like Marty Snyder, here's Dave Burns.
Yeah, actually, you got that right. Yeah, we were down here talking Pyramid. And, you know, Kenseth, who we were watching on the track there, he told me he won all kinds of money for his people. How about you?
Yeah, he's just telling you that. I don't know what he won, but I think we were the best overall, you know, but not much what you see. It was a lot of fun, and, you know, to meet Donnie Osmond and all that stuff and see how they play. And I was real nervous to start with, but, man, once we got going, kind of fell right in place. A lot of fun.
Now, come on, we talk to you all the time. It should have been just like being on Speed or NBC or TNT, right?
Well, I'm hard up to
or Fox.
Right, you got it right. Whichever one, right? No, it's I was just real nervous to start with because I never played the game very much, never watched it a lot, and I thought, man, I got to think about all those clues and all that stuff. I'm not very good at that, but it worked out okay.
And did you read the rule book ahead of time so you could maybe exploit some gray areas in the game?
I did break some rules a couple times. They won't show that, but I did break the rules a couple times. And heck, I mean, you don't know everything. All of a sudden, you'll just say the word and not realize what you're saying, and you get in trouble. The bells go off, whistles go off.
Yeah, they have officials there too. Hey, we're gonna watch Jeremy drive here in a few cars, guys. What he does best.
Let's see, bells go off, whistles goes off, and somebody gets fined $5,000. Sounds a lot like post-race interviews.
Yes, it does.
Dale Jr.
Look right here, he had a pretty good run going right there down the back straightaway. He's fading back a little bit. He's picked it up quite a bit of where he was the first lap.
He was 6th quickest in practice. He has led at least one lap in 23 of the 33 races this year. How significant is that? Well, right now he goes to 3rd quickest. That's 115 bonus points.
Wow.
That's the difference between 2nd and 6th in Winston Cup points right now with 3 races to go.
And that 3rd place run is significant because he's qualified 3rd in 3 of the last 4 races. And the number 3 has a lot of significance.
Yeah,
at
I mean,
DEI.
the last few weeks, these guys been doing everything they should do. It's just Matt Kenseth's lead has stretched out there so much during the spring and summer, it just can't quite get there.
They're reeling him in, but can they catch him? So Dale Jr. 3rd behind Brian Vickers and Joe Nemechek. I think Homer Simpson. I think that's Homer Simpson on Sunday's episode of The Simpsons. It's the Simpsons Halloween extravaganza, and it's really funny. He plays. Well, you've seen it. Boom, boom, boom. Take it or nap. It's okay. I got a word sense of humor, but it's funny. Ricky Craven on track.
We're with you all the way.
Yeah. I'll dig the hole. You fill it in for me.
But I'm going to tell you what, Ricky Craven, this group, I mean, from the time they pulled in the racetrack this morning, it has been Strugglesville. They were 43rd quickest out of 45 cars. They've been changing everything on this race car you could possibly change. I mean, you see them in there. Just the whole car sliding. It's loose. It pushes. I don't think this is going to be a very good lap for Ricky in this group.
You are right.
Not at all.
28.073. That is 20th of 21.
We talked about John Andretti's milestone coming up this Sunday. Ricky Craven is expected to make his 250th career Winston Cup start.
And unless he picks up, it will be from provisional land.
Out of the gas quite a while right through the middle of the corner right there. And, you know, if you want to go fast here at Phoenix, you got to pick up that gas from the center on out, just like any racetrack we go to. Picks it up a little bit, but not very much.
18th of 21 for Ricky Craven. Dale Jr., 3rd fastest. 9 poles in 2003 for Ryan Newman. That ties Rusty Wallace in the 2000 season for the most poles in one year since Bill Elliott won 11 way back in 1985.
Car right there took a big D-do right in the middle of the corner right there, coming up to speed. It could hurt this first lap there.
Yeah, I mean, that going through 3 and 4, how you get through there and come to take the green can make a big difference in how fast you do or don't run on that first lap. You talked about that record. Mike, I saw where the actual record in the modern era is Cale Yarborough with 14 poles back in 1980. Now, he can't get there this year, Ryan Newman can't, but you never know about 2004.
First lap, second, 27:02. He needs 9 100ths to knock Brian Vickers off the pole.
And we've been seeing most everybody pick up about a 10th or 10th and a half on that second lap. And Jeff, you pointed out, you know, that first lap could have been affected by how he came to the green. So we'll see what this second lap's like.
First lap was 2/10 off the track record that Rusty set in 2000.
It's coming back. Gonna be
There's
close.
the green. It's going to be there.
It is 26.931. 7 1/1000ths of a second faster than Brian Vickers.
26.93.
Marty?
Dale Earnhardt and Junior and I just sharing the moment of absolute disbelief that Ryan Newman is on the pole. How about your lap, though, Junior? It wasn't quite perfect. It's really hard to get a perfect lap here, isn't it?
Well, I like the racetrack. We ran qualified third here last year and led some laps, so he's real confident coming in. Just need to work on our setup a little bit. We were a little tight and on entry and give up some time there. Of course, we weren't going to run what Ryan just ran, but it'd been nice to run into 90s or flat or something like that, because we did run that quick in practice.
And the racetrack is changing, though, not as slick as it was early on. Drivers are saying, Dave?
Marty, very interested in watching just about every lap here. You watch Ryan Newman's lap here. Can you beat a 9:31? That's pretty good.
It's pretty stout. I tell you what, those guys have got their qualifying package down, that's for sure. And you know, he steps it up at the right time. But our boy Brian Vickers is up there, pretty good. So, you know, DuPont Chevrolet was good. We tested here, and we weren't the fastest in our qualifying setup, but I thought our race setup was really good. So we're just going to get everything we can here. I was a little bit free in practice. Hopefully we fix it.
And you haven't had a pole yet here, Jeff. I mean, are you as close as you've been, do you think?
Yeah, I've been on the outside pole here before. I'd love to just be in the top 5. Even top 10 is you know, decent here, but top 5 is where you really need to be at this place. It is tough to pass, but the track's great. You know, a lot of room. It's fast, and we'll just see how fast we can go.
Great, thanks, Jeff. Another good lap up there, Mike.
Rusty flirted with the pole. He had about a half a lap's worth of it. You saw the green light go up on both laps, and then coming off turn 4 slipped just a bit. He is almost exactly a 10th of a second off Ryan Newman's time, his teammate, and he is third.
But I'm going to tell you what, this could be, for the Rusty Wallace fans, this could be where this group gets to victory lane. This is a brand new race car, the best downforce car they've ever had. He tested it in St. Louis. Rusty's got that bounce in his step. This could be the place, but I think someone down there has his teammate who's on the pole, Marty.
That would be me, Larry Mack, and I think you should try this for a full-time living, this race car driving thing. It's working out pretty good for you, Ryan.
Yeah, it's a good run for the Auto Dodge. I'd like to hope that it would hold up. Brian had definitely a good lap, so Rusty got a good lap. It's interesting to see if the track changes and picks up any speed, but you know, we unloaded okay and made the car better all day, and that feels good as a team.
The track was very slick early on. Is it slick now, Ryan?
I was sliding around, but I think that was more me trying to push it that hard.
He said the car was neutral, for your information, Larry Mack. Track not really that slick right now.
Neutral is not bad at this place. No push, no loose.
Michael Waltrip, whose spot on the practice chart matched his car number. And this lap matches that, 15th.
Michael's got it going green right now as he goes off down the back straightaway. Looks like he's picking it up a little bit. Should be better than the first lap. Another car up against that rev limiter. You hear it just kind of cut in. Now this keeps the driver from overdriving the corner.
I'm going to tell you what, he has to have a lot of confidence. You heard it in his interview. This is a car he was so good with at Loudon last month when they had the fuel can left in the car and had to come back in. But that's going to be a good run for Michael. 7th quickest, picks it up quite a bit on that second lap.
27.19 for Michael. Let's meet the third place driver, Marty.
Well, he put a scare in his teammate, but you immediately got out and looked at the left front. What were you looking for, Rusty? Well, I just tired us looked real good, looked real sticky, like it was working good, and that's all I was looking at. The lap was pretty terrific. Yeah, the lap was a good lap. It ran a flat. You know, we ran a 23 in practice, ran a 03 just now, so I was able to pick it up 2/10, and that was strong. And the car's been pretty quick all the time. We've been working on handling, made a lot of changes with shocks and spring combination, marry everything together. But other than that, I'm pretty happy. We went to St. Louis and tested, and it was a great racetrack for us to get tuned up for here. So it's a good test at St. Louis. That helped me for here. Larry Mack, I think you're right. This could be the weekend.
I know he has a lot of bounce in his step, and he's been excited about this race car ever since they had it in the wind tunnel and saw the downforce numbers.
You see Steve Park right there. He come off the corner, Mike. He got loose. That's not going to help his lap at all.
New paint scheme on that car this week. He's actually carrying another one of the Looney Tune characters on the hood of his car. That's Daffy Duck up there. You see, he definitely has his hands full with Daffy up on the hood coming off turn 4.
Well, Steve had a decent lap. Daffy didn't. He is 24th of 25 on that first lap. This will be better.
This is where you ask for the driver to basically analyze the first lap and adapt to what the car did and try to drive it in such a manner that he can pick his time.
And Mike, you mentioned earlier, car owner Richard Childress has never been on our trackside show. Going to come join us tonight. Really anxious to hear what his thoughts are about this 30 car for next year.
Second lap for the East Northport, New York driver moves him up to 22nd with a 27.67. Dave?
And Kurt Busch's car was atop the standings for a little while and then dropped down a bit. You haven't had a top 10 qualifying run here yet. How about today?
We'll see how it shakes up. I mean, the car is so close and the field is so competitive right now. See what we can do. I mean, I'm excited about it, but yet we just got to go make a solid lap and get a good starting spot. But it would be nice to get a pole to get into that butt shootout.
And the new configuration here, I mean, do you feel like it's come to you, or did you have to work pretty hard to get it right?
I've enjoyed it thus far. I mean, just being able to slide up out of 2 and then catching that fresh asphalt. You never really realized how old the asphalt was here. I don't even remember when they paved it. I just remember sitting in the grandstands in the early 90s and watching Davey Allison win races. So this place is pretty cool to me. We'll see if we can do it.
Everybody seems to like that grip off of 2, guys.
That's for sure. Ricky Rudd on the speedway. He's been in all 15 Cup races here. Kurt Busch still mourning the Cubs collapse. We shared a moment about that last night. We're pretty tired of. I'm twice as tired as he is of saying wait till next year. Just my whole lifetime, you know. That's
you got to be positive, Mike. Wait till next year.
Ricky Rudd got a win here back in the 80s, and this is a brand new car. He tested at Kansas last week. Don't think he's going to be too happy with that qualifying lap there. First lap, 21st quickest.
27.64 the time.
Just kind of wondering, you know, about maybe why they didn't have that car ran so well at Richmond and Loudon, but they pretty much, Pat Tryson, Eddie Wood told me this car is pretty much a mirror of that car, just maybe a little better downforce as far as wind tunnel numbers.
Ricky Rudd's going to pick up on this second lap. 27.30 moves him up to 16th.
And equals just about what he did in the practice. And there's a guy should have been going out about 4th in line for qualifying. That's Mark Martin in the 6th car. They finally got that car ready to go, and that's Mark there behind, talking with one of the engineers from Rouse Racing. So I guess they got that car ready to go, and I believe our boy Dave Burns is caught up with Kevin Harvick.
And he'll start first for the Busch race here tomorrow. Your hair looks awesome, man. Well, it's all right. What about this car here? Where's it going to start?
I don't know. We really struggled at the beginning of practice, and then the last couple runs we were really good. So looks like everybody's a little bit loose, and we made a little adjustment. We'll just have to see what happens with the GM Vickers Chevrolet. I just got to fix my hair.
Yeah, Larry Mack saying something about a toll-free number for Hair Club or something like that.
Well, he got to call first because he's got less hair than I do.
I think he owns stock or something like that.
You tell
right?
Harvick you work with some of the drivers I've worked with, and you know why it's thin.
I got a lot going on, just not a glare. He's got a glare.
I've talked to people he's driven for. Kevin gives gray hairs. He doesn't get them.
Mine just falls out.
Meanwhile,
back at the ranch,
Jeremy Mayfield green lights it up in turn number 2. It's going to be a good run for the Dodge. He was 17th on his first lap, but look at him go.
It's staying there. This team came up here and tested, lost a little bit of ground, maybe didn't drive it in quite as deep in the 3 and 4. Let's see if he can pick some ground up, but it don't really look like it. But he was there all the way to the entrance of turn 3.
Still a nice pickup on lap 2 all the way to 7th with a 27.18. Brian Newman, Brian Vickers, Rusty Wallace, quickest so far. Scott Wimmer, newly installed in the Cat Dodge, was the winner of last year's NASCAR Busch Series race here. He will start tomorrow's Busch race from 7th spot.
Scott was 11th quickest in practice. He was one of the ones we talked about in the opening in this ride for the 2nd week, being at full time in 2004. Coming down just a little bit, but now he loses a little ground there late exit turn 4. This is his first lap. 27.33, 18th quickest, but if he can pick up about a 10th and a half, it'd be a pretty good lap.
And he looked real good through 1 and 2, which either means that he and Jeremy Mayfield are flying through 1 and 2, or that Ryan Newman, who is fastest, didn't have such a good turns 1 and 2 compared to the rest of his lap.
Pretty good run off turn 4 there. It's like he lost a little bit of ground late action.
The car looked like it really got loose right at the top of the corner. Lost a lot of that forward bite. We keep talking about the forward bite and how important it is. That's where he lost most of his time. But he did come out here and practice, so they should have a pretty good setup, I would think, for the race.
17th fastest for Scott Williams. Dave?
Catching up with Johnny Benson, who's had an interesting week testing at the newly reconfigured Homestead track. We're talking about reconfiguration here. What about Homestead? What was that like to run?
It's actually pretty neat, you know. I mean, it's got obviously a lot more banking than what I've had in the past. And as the corners are a little soft getting in, then you start to get more bank as you get in the center corner and off. And I think guys will have a fun time racing on it. I think it's a lot better, obviously, than what it was. And should be good racing.
Now, of course, we all dream about the day when you can run all over the track and everybody choose a different line and set up for that and have 6-wide racing the whole time. But, I mean, it's probably not there, but is it closer to what you want to get?
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe it's going to be 3-wide racing, at least not yet. You know, I'd have to wait and see as the track gets older. I ran mainly you run the middle groove. You can run down on the bottom just a little bit, but then venture up to the top. Still pretty slippery at the moment. So I think as you get more race cars on there and the races get going, it'll start to widen out and be a great place to race.
Very good, Mike.
Green light for Tony Stewart, 10th fastest on his first lap, and he's fast through 1 and 2 in the backstretch.
Boy, that's a sign. You heard that rev limiter? That's also a sign, Jeff. You really got a good run off turn 2. Carried a lot of speed, a lot of RPMs. Stay in the green light. Losing a little bit of ground right there. Gonna be close. 4th quickest.
Green light right to the middle of turns 3 and 4 for Tony Stewart.
I'll tell you, other than maybe Jeff Gordon, this 20 group, they have been on a roll. 6 straight top 5 finishes, including their win at Lowe's last month, 2nd at Atlanta. They're doing what they've done almost every season, just coming on like gangbusters here in the final quarter of the season.
He's outscored Matt Kenseth by 367 points in the last 6 races, but going into that stretch was so far behind, no chance of catching him for the Winston Cup title. But what a great second half for Tony Stewart.
Yeah, for a long time, a lot of the guys early part of the season, when he had his problems, thought it would be, hey, not his year. He'd be lucky to get back in the top 10, much less have an opportunity maybe to finish up in the top 5. He's still coming on. He really is.
6 straight top 5 finishes also for Jeff Gordon, who won a Busch Series race here in 1999 and has 4 poles this season.
And this would be one of very few Winston Cup tracks that he's not won a Winston Cup race at. But yeah, I mean, this group coming on, if it just was not for that month of August and early September, I mean, they wish they never saw that month. Tested here a couple of weeks ago.
Wow, 19th. But again, green light through turns 1 and 2, and then it falls off just a bit.
But he got a good run off turn 2, and the speed's picking up all the way down the backstretch. So you see green light into turn 3, but can he hold that speed through the middle and pick that throttle up and be able to stay in it off turn 4?
Losing a little bit of ground right there. Now he's starting to come back just a little bit.
Looked like just not getting back to the gas as quick as Newman was the difference, but Gordon is 3rd. Just the difference between that and the pole lap, just 5/100ths of a second.
Now, I was talking to his crew chief, Robbie Loomis, earlier, and he said, Jeff, if we can get anything in the top 10, it'll be a good day. If we get in the top 5, it'll be a great day.
Hey, let me ask you, because he was so far back on that first lap, could that first lap have been a throwaway lap for Jeff Gordon?
I don't think so, not here.
I don't think so, but the thing you definitely don't want to do is abuse one end of the tire or other. You know, you don't want to slide the front wheels, make the car push too much, or abuse the rear tires, because then that could really affect the second lap too.
Okay. Kurt Busch, Sharpie Rubbermaid Ford, 4 wins in 2003, a best start of 4th, finished 8th last week at Atlanta from 17th, and he's got a handful here.
He definitely does. And talking about somebody that's been abusing a few things right now, Kurt's kind of got himself a little bit in the doghouse with NASCAR.
Yeah, they revoked his hard card this week. A practice incident led to a meeting in the big red truck that he did not attend. Kurt said he did not know of the meeting. So they rescheduled it for the start of Winston Cup practice, and his hard card, his annual credential that gets you into the track without having to sign in each week, was revoked. So he's had to go through the credentialing process separately each time he goes to the racetrack, and then go see the Winston Cup director to get his garage hot pass, and then go and practice.
He has to go to the NASCAR registration trailer outside the racetrack and stand in line with all the people that don't have an annual credential. And I've seen that line be probably sometimes 30, 40, 50 people long on sign-in day.
It can be long sometimes. And the one thing about it right now, definitely it hasn't slowed him down, and he picked it up a little bit to 6th fastest right there to 27.056.
Well, hopefully that is all just a minor distraction, because once he gets in here and gets to work, Kurt Busch has been quick, and he is quick today. 6th fastest. Here's Marty.
Tony Stewart's been quick as well, and 5th fastest for you, Smoke. Lost a little bit of time in 3 and 4.
Yeah, just a little bit loose, but you know, Zippy and the guys been adjusting on this Home Depot Monte Carlo all day, and it's been good. So you know, normally I slow down 2/10 because I make a mistake. So at least I held up my end of the deal today and kept us on pace.
Phoenix, one of his best racetracks, 3 top 10s in his 4 races here. Dave?
Jimmy Johnson practiced 4th today, I believe it was. How about a shot at the pole?
Yeah, I think we've got a shot at it. You know, the car's been great. Jeff came out and tested, and Vickers came out, and we've learned a lot of good things. Have basically the same setup as those guys, and yeah, they're 2nd and 3rd right now. So hopefully I can squeak a little bit more out of this and get one of those red hats. Ryan's got too many of those at home, so I want one of those red Bud Pole hats for my collection. I only have 2 this year. I want another one at least, and I think we'll be good with this Lowe's car. It's been awesome all day.
And what about Sunday? You're doing something nice for the folks back at home in California, aren't you?
Yeah, most of where I grew up has been burned down with all the fires that's gone on through the San Diego area. And Lowe's, once again, stepping up to the plate as they do with this Racing for Relief program. They've done it in the past for our Power of Pride program, the USO, and the hurricane disaster we had around the Dover weekend. And again, they're putting up another $100,000 to try to generate some money and raise some money for the American Red Cross. And you can also go to any Lowe's and donate at the cash registers. And all this money is going to the American Red Cross for this, all the problems we're having in California. You know, my heart's out to everyone at home and in the area. I know there's a lot of stuff that's burned down and a lot of people out of homes right now, and hopefully we can raise some money and help out.
Mike?
Thanks. That is a great cause. Disaster relief for the fires burning in California. Nice gesture by Lowe's and Jimmy Johnson. We'll be right back. Ryan Newman's quickest. Welcome back to Phoenix. Mark Martin completed his run in 9th place, 27-16. And here is Kevin Harvick in the Richard Childress GM Goodwrench Chevy.
I think it'd be remiss, Mike, if we didn't kind of pay off Mark Martin. That was a heck of a pickup from where that team was. They've been struggling way all day long. They're back in about 36th. He picked up about 3.5 tenths and got his car up there in a pretty good position.
Now, did they change an engine? I'm not sure what change they made in that car that caused him to miss his qualifying spot, but we'll double check. I know that face anywhere.
The devil made me do it.
Robbie Gordon, Kevin Harvick's teammate, heading up his car to make a qualifying run. See Kevin Harvick off turn 2 down the backstretch. It was green for just a little bit, starting to lose a little ground. I think qualifying for Kevin can only go up here in 2 Winston Cup starts here. He has never started better than 25th. So I think he's going to improve on that just a little bit today. Yeah, 10th quickest for Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick, 10th. Here's Marty.
Mike, it's always good when your best lap of the day is during qualifying. That was the case for you, huh, Jeff Gordon?
Yeah, you know, we were good right off the truck, and then when everybody started picking it up, we tried to pick it up and just couldn't really catch up to a lot of those other guys, and we made some adjustments right there at the end, and I think I learned a little bit. I talked to Jimmy Johnson, talked to Brian Vickers, and there's some things that I was doing that I needed to adjust for my qualifying run, and I did that, and man, the car was awesome. Just, you know, drove really good and strong up off the corners, and if you're going to get a good lap, that's the time to do it.
I'll give you some friendly advice real quick. You know, Bugs Bunny would help, Wild E. Coyote would help, but this part right here on Yosemite Sam, that's not going to help. That's going to give you too much drag, I think.
That's my spoiler.
I know that's a little too much spoiler, isn't it?
Well, it gives me good downforce in the corners, though. Yeah, Bugs wasn't too kind to us, so we're going to try Yosemite out this time, but pretty exciting to have you know, the Looney Tunes movie and back to action and get a little bit of a cameo in there. The car's got a good spot in there. It's a lot of fun, so hope people go out and see it.
That's right, Bugs equaled a wreck for him last time. Maybe Yosemite will be better.
I'd swear that's Hammond's hat. Elliott Sadler, the pedigree Ford, number 38.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
You ought to know better than that. You're not ever thinking.
24th for Elliott on his first lap. That's more trick than treat.
This is the car that they finished 8th with at Loudon back in September. Elliott's last top 10 finish goes up to 11th quickest on his second lap.
And you know what I heard that was surprising just a second ago? Jeff Gordon said he went to Brian Vickers for advice.
I picked up on that too, Mike, and I was going to make a comment that it really speaks a lot about a guy that's a 4-time Winston Cup champion who says, I'm never too old to learn from somebody else. I listen.
But, Jeff, I think you may have mentioned this earlier. I know we were talking about it. Brian Vickers and Jeff Gordon both testing out here a couple of weeks ago. Brian actually got in Jeff's car and ran just a little quicker than Jeff Gordon ran in it.
All right, Dave can tell us what's happened with Mark Martin.
Yeah, I saw crew chief Ben Leslie walking the other way, so I ran up to him. I said, what did you guys do? Did you change motors, whatever? He said, no, the car actually did have an incident in practice, tagged the wall a little bit, so they fixed it, didn't change the motor. That's why they were late for inspection, and pretty good pickup, like you said. Thanks,
Dave. That's important because it means that Mark will start where he qualified instead of having to go to the back of the pack if he had changed engines. Right now, Martin is 9th.
And, you know, a couple of weeks ago during Martinsville qualifying, some teams didn't make it to their qualifying position, and NASCAR did not let them qualify because those guys had a situation that caused them a problem in practice. You go to NASCAR, and they will excuse you.
And that's what happened with Mark here. Kenny Schrader on the go or go home because this team is out of provisionals, and he is 26th right now, which is safe by 1 spot.
You know, that's a good thing, too, for Kenny, because I would almost call Kenny Schrader Mr. Phoenix, because at one time, whether it was a Copper World Classic, no matter what they were racing out here in Phoenix, he would be here racing somewhere, somehow.
Yeah, and Earnhardt would kid him about it and say, hey, there's Schrader, world's greatest Southwest Tour driver, world's greatest Winston West, or Silver Crown driver, or whatever Schrader was in, he'd win, and Earnhardt would proclaim him the best at it.
He was definitely good here at Phoenix.
And the second lap.
Field today, finally.
Second lap quicker, but 26th. Ryan Newman, we've been watching him along the spectator fence there for about 15 straight minutes. He's been signing autographs. He is hoping to sign the big check as Bud Pole winner. Here this afternoon, he is fastest. Brian Vickers. Second, Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace, and Tony Stewart.
I mean, this is the place he made his very first Winston Cup start here 3 years ago, and since then, 76 career Winston Cup starts, 16 career poles, and 9 wins this year. I mean, just unbelievable. Or 9 career wins, 8 wins this year.
Bill Elliott, who's also jumped to the top 10 in the point standings. 9th he stands right now. He's having a great finish to this season. Rumors continue as to whether or not this might be Elliott's last full season. Let's set that aside for now and have a look at this lap for Bill in the Ray Evernham Dodge, and it's not a great one. 27th at a 27.45, but he green lights it down in turn 1.
He has 2 Bud poles here, 93 and 95. And Mike, you talked about him being 9th in the points. In the last 9 races, he has 5 top 5 finishes, and he's went from 16th to 9th in points. That's hard to do this late in the season.
To make that big a jump, agree. Second lap. Better. 15th for Elliott, 27.19. Much better lap. Coming up.
I'll go along with the bad seed part.
Ryan Newman is quickest. Brian Vickers, Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace. 2 Dodges and 2 Chevys in the front 4 as Johnny Benson's Valvoline Pontiac takes to the track. 3 top 10 qualifying efforts this year. Second at Rockingham. His best start here, 4th in this car in 2000.
Yeah, they were struggling in practice, 35th quickest. Of course, Johnny coming up on the anniversary of his last win last fall at Rockingham. He's in his final 3 races in this 10 car. Scott Riggs will be taking his ride over. As you see, it's another one of those Pontiacs that was notified this week that Pontiac will not be returning. Johnny's 31st quickest on his first lap. Brandon Ash has been bumped out of the top 36, so we know he will be one of the cars, the 02 car, going to the house.
And Kenny Schrader is locked into the top 36. He was the other driver that was go or go home. So have to wait and see who will join Brandon Ash and rolling out of Phoenix this afternoon. Benson 29th and picks it up 1 spot to 28th on lap 2.
Larry, we've talked a couple times about Pontiac pulling out. Ricky Craven made the comment about it was kind of a surprise for them. I'm going to put myself back in that crew chief or back in the crew's role right now. They were probably already building cars for 2004. Can you imagine what kind of an impact that may have on them as far as getting things ready for next season?
Yeah, Cal Wells, the owner of Ricky Craven's cars, we see Jimmy Johnson in the 48 Lowe's car take to the track, told me they already had 3 cars built to the new template specs that NASCAR has laid out, and had all 3 of those cars already in the wind tunnel. He said it probably hurt him about 4 to 6 weeks worth of workload.
The Lowe's Chevrolet for Jimmy Johnson, 3 straight top 5 finishes, and 9 top 11s in the last 10 races. 2 poles this season.
Looking pretty strong right now, guys.
Yes, he is. This is a car he swept both the Loudon races with, won both races at Loudon this year.
If he can just get off turn 4, he's got a shot at the rocket.
He's not at the bottom right there. Pretty good. Dropping back to second now.
Looked like he lost a little ground just right in the middle of turn 4. Looks like he's going to be 3rd quickest.
26.98 for Jimmy Johnson. 5/100ths off Ryan Newman's present pole time.
But if he can pick that 1/10 up, and it's looking pretty solid, you see the green bubble moving quite a bit to the right.
You know, usually you interview Johnson before he runs. He says, boy, I don't know if we got anything for Ryan. Today, he says, we've got a shot.
And I believe he does. It's staying right there, just almost the same place he lost it on the first lap. It's going to be a little better. I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Now,
good job, Jimmy.
Faster, but still 3rd. Went from a 98 to a 95. Ryan Newman is a 26.93. Vickers is a 93. Jimmy Johnson a 95. And Jeff Gordon a 98. All very tight there. All right, let's go trick-or-treating.
Mike, the way I understand it is that all of your guys for Robbie Gordon's team here were supposed to be in on this mass thing, right?
Yeah, they sissed out with me. Disappointed. I thought these guys were men, too.
Now, this mass, though, you can tell it's a California one because it's pierced in a couple places, right?
Actually, I got it in North Carolina.
It's moved east, guys. Look out.
Picked it up in North Carolina, and I thought I'd get all my guys to wear one. They have no ends.
All right, Prince of Darkness, how's your car?
I think we're pretty good. We went out. We were really quick on our first set of tires, and went out the second set and about crashed. So we made a couple changes to the car, went out again. We were pretty good for like a second or third run on tires. So I think we can run a 20. It's obviously not good enough for the pole, but should put us somewhere around top 20.
You know, if he puts a mask on, maybe he can run a 26.666, and then he'll be on the pole.
Ooh. I think that bad seed. I hope that was pumpkin seed he was referring to. Well, Derek Cope, now that Schrader's in the field, it's Derek Cope who is on the go or go home plan. Mike Wallace is also safely in. So Cope is the next to the bottom on owner points, and he's got to pick it up. 38th on the first lap. And it's not going to be a pickup for Derek Cope. He remains 38th. So likely that will be the car that joins Brandon Ash on the going home list. Marty.
Oh, Mike, you should have heard Jimmy Johnson on the radio. He said, a little free. You were so disappointed. So good. Just a little bit off 4, Jimmy.
Man, this track it's slicker, you know, than what I thought it was going to be. I watched a little bit of TV, and everybody said it was a little slicker, but just a great lap, great effort from the Lowe's team, and I got to thank Jeff Gordon and Brian Vickers for coming out here and testing and giving us a great place to start. You can see all the Hendrick cars right there on top of one another. I guess that's all we've got out of these setups, but great day for the Lowe's team, and looking forward to great things on Sunday afternoon.
Strong 3rd place so far for Jimmy Johnson.
The Penske Dodges 1st and 5th. The Hendrick Chevys 2, 3, and 4 right now. We're going to compress a little here to get ready for the Craftsman Truck Race coming up next. While we were gone, Casey Mears timed in 8th, Greg Biffle 24th, Jimmy Spencer 28th, Robbie Gordon 30th, Larry Foyt 31st, and Dave Blaney timed in 8th. So Ryan Newman has the Bud pole here at Phoenix. Brian Vickers, the rookie, will start right alongside.
Ryan Newman's 25th top 10 start this year in 34 qualifying events.
Unbelievable. There's a look at your top 10. We'll rip you through the grid here. Down through 20th.
And we're going to have to go quite a ways to find our points leader, Matt Kenseth, who will be using a provisional start again. I know he won this thing from 28th position last year, but you can't keep overcoming bad qualifying runs like that.
Well, but like he says, we don't qualify well, but we race well. There he is, 37th. Matt Kenseth, 4 provisional starts in the last 6 races as he tries to hang on to the point lead.
And that's exactly what he's doing right now, Mike, trying to hang on. But every time you keep going further and further back, it hurts everybody as far as the team's concerned. Pick selections, everything. It's very tough.
Second straight Phoenix pole for Ryan Newman, his 10th pole of the season, the most anybody's had since Bill Elliott in 1985. Congratulations, Ryan. Everybody, good luck on Sunday. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is next right here on Speed.